Hey there, listeners. We are so excited to welcome you to fully musical episode. Just kidding.
We're not going to do that to you yet.
No, we're not quite there yet. This is your 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, or 13th favorite reality TV recap podcast. It's Blighty Day Fiance. My name is Michelle. I'm coming to you from Los Angeles, California, by way of London, England, by way of Bethesda, Maryland. And with me today is my person, my favorite, and yours. It's Baby J.
Hey, everybody. I, too, am in Los Angeles, right next to Michelle, by way of New York City, as always. Important when you're out here too long, which is about a decade now. Never lose your roots. Always say where you're really from, because as Michelle's finding out in Los Angeles, few people are from Los Angeles.
Especially in East LA, there's very few people who are actually from here.
And for all my my people who are, let's say, over a certain age, it is not the same East LA as Born in East LA, the film starring Cheech Marin.
Wow, what a reference. Well, we are here today to cover 90 Day the Other Way, Season 6, Episode 6.
One fine bidet.
Yeah, see, we're not quite ready for the musical episode yet, although that was a gallant attempt. How's your week going, buddy?
How's my week going? My week's all right, you know. Like every week, there are some ups, there are some downs, but the important thing, where's that median? My median is up, Michelle. Everything's looking aces today.
Yeah, you know, it's Mercury went retrograde on the 4th, and that is the planet that affects communication, if you're inclined to believe those things. My husband, Robin, who is currently back in London, every single Mercury retrograde, he comes to me with a technical problem, a communication problem, or a disruption in travel plans. And I say, I told you so. It's a real thing.
Is your thing to Robin, do you want him to schedule things around retrograde cycles?
I want my entire family to schedule things around retrograde cycles. So
we're believers here. We believe in things beyond our own knowledge and time and space.
Yes. Sign up to our Patreon. By the way, we are at present, we've taken stock. We're working on a couple of things, and it's come to our attention that we cannot deliver a weekly bonus episode at this time. It is something that we want to bring back to every week, but right now we're going to have to do them every other week. You are still on the $5 tier going to get all killer, no filler, all of our many episodes that we record in a week ad-free for $5 a month. At the $10 tier, you get video. You can see me in my beautiful, crinkly orange dress that I have, that I'm sort of weird about because I'm like, it almost looks like a hospital gown, but when I dress it up, it looks pretty and it's really light. And
Patreonies on the video tier here. Tell Michelle how beautiful she looks today.
Oh, that's so sweet. I've got a new haircut and I'm learning how to style it. It looks a little dry right now, which I'm aware of, but it is extremely hot outside and I've waves rather than curls. I've got wavy hair with a fine follicle, which is a terrible combination to have because no one makes products for that.
$1 billion idea. Shark Tank. Here we come.
Yeah, it's a shame I have zero experience in that industry. Anyway, sign up for all of that.
Michelle, we'll continue.
What else? Not much.
How's your week?
Well, I had a tricky weekend emotionally, psychologically, physically, spiritually. I'm having a lot of big feelings about my upcoming jaunt back east. I haven't been back there since my father was still with us, so it's tough. I don't want to bring the tone down already by talking about grief, but that's sort of on my mind. And there's some big changes that we're making that I'm excited about and that you all will be so super excited about. You know, as an ADHD person, change is difficult for me, even good change, even positive changes. But Jack has been really supportive. Diana's been really supportive. Robin's been really supportive throughout this whole process. And, you know, it's always good to have support, but it is, yeah, it's been challenging, but I feel like the mist is lifting a little bit and I'm kind of feeling more anchored and more myself.
I'm glad to hear that. And, as you are very open on this program with what's going on, we don't, you're dealing with some stuff that can knock people off their games, stuff dealing with difficult personalities and personalities in general. I'm a difficult personality for you to deal with, but, I think that I want to give you credit on the air here on the public feed for battling through all of this and staying on task and making sure we get our fine program out to the people.
Yes, Jack's referring to my other job. I have a case that I've been working on for 2 years now, and because of the way that things have worked out, I'm not going to bore you with the details, but it's a big deal. Fortunately, my cousin Dan is able to help me in that regard, and so huge kudos and grateful thanks to cousin Dan for being able to take care of the things that I'm not able to do because I'm not on the ground there. So yeah, I'm anxious about that. I have severe travel anxiety, which I'll get into later as is appropriate. But yeah, I've been thinking about it and I don't actually share a lot about my life and particularly the parts of my life that are difficult here. And because I let a couple of bad reviews sort of change how I talked about myself. And, it's difficult. Everyone says don't read the reviews. I do because if someone tells me not to do something, then I'm going to do it within reason. And sorry, I'm knocking tables over now. I think I need to bring some of that back here because I don't think I'm doing enough of that.
I encourage you to do that. We've been soft partnering on enacting this on the show, but I like it. We're doing a little bit more of a preamble. I feel listeners, let us know what you feel about this, but I like starting off with a little chat, a little how's everything going?
I like it too, and I'm really glad that you've brought that to the table. And one thing, so Jack is a Sagittarius. I'm a Capricorn. When we fight, we don't really know how to be in conflict with each other. We're used to people who are to fighting with people who are much more sort of like, okay, let's slow it down. Let's feel it out.
The word you're looking for is calm. Much more calm.
Sure, people. Rational. Yeah. We're just like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking torch this building.
Yeah, but see, it depends. Depending on the mood, that might only for me that could last like 90 seconds. I've seen it as short as like 10 minutes for you.
Yep.
So we're bouncing back, but I feel like sharing this process with our listeners is, it's a peek behind that curtain.
Talk to us about your fighting styles. Are you a Scorpion with anyone in your life? Or do you just
a praying mantis?
Yeah.
Also?
Do you just go straight for the head and move on? What I love is that you can always break the tension by making me laugh. And very few people in this world have that talent.
Ooh,
and
I did not know I was in such rare air.
My favorite thing that you say is, so do you want to be in a weird fight with me or do you not want to be in a weird fight with me? Or do you want to be in a weird fight with me or do you want to enjoy the day?
I encourage people to use that. You don't have to give me credit. It does break the tension when some things, if you smile and you go, so You want to be in a weird fight, or do you want to hang out? It does help. See, it'll get that reaction, and that's a positive reaction.
I know. My word.
I would say that in our segue here of chatting into the show, I would say that, speaking of weird fights, is probably a really good segue into our program today.
Sure. Boy, these are weird fights. I want to say, let's start with Josh and Lily. I want to say that I called this early.
You did. I'm giving you full credit because I was like, Josh seems like a nice guy. And you were like, no, there's something going on there. And I was like, you're being nasty. And
I know.
Now look.
And Diana said the same thing. She was like, oh, there's something about him that I just want to protect, and egg on your face is all I can say, because wow.
So we have, I think we'll start with, so Josh and Lily are completely enmeshed, starting their life together now in China. They're going to play badminton with a couple of her friends. It initially looked like another...
Say that word again.
Badminton.
Okay.
Yeah, I said it wrong. I said it with an American accent. I said badminton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said it.
Like a naughty mitten. Like a naughty
badminton.
glove.
Badminton, which I did play, of course, at summer camp when I was a kid, because that's what you do. This is where things
Where did you go to summer camp? Can you say?
I can. It was like 30 years ago, so I'm comfortable. I went to 2 different camps, but they were very close to each other in and around Lenox, Massachusetts.
I have family from Lenox.
Mackinac was one of the camps. You have family from Lenox. Look at that.
My cousin's wife is from Lenox.
The Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Look at that. Oh, we're going to have a little summer camp talk. Now, what I was going to say here is that this is where Josh takes a little bit of a turn for me. Because when we heard him reference in the past that Lily played sports with guys, yeah, okay, like what does that mean?
Boys.
She always has said boys, correct?
Yep, that's my understanding.
And I don't like to try to judge people's ages unless I have to, but these boys were maybe 16 years old.
Yeah.
Like they were boys.
They were boys.
Literally. So we have that coming up.
Hang on, sorry.
That's all right.
Hey Siri, turn on Do Not Disturb. Sorry, y'all. Don't pause it. These are totally normal professional things.
So we have, but we start seeing we hear Lily talking about Josh's jealousy, which she seems to like to a degree. I don't think that degree counts as you're jealous of the 15-year-olds I play sports with.
I'm going to run a situation by you.
All right.
Okay. Let's say, I don't know why, but I picture Diana as being very good at volleyball.
Diana will laugh and appreciate that comment.
Okay. I don't know why. That just comes.
I could see her doing it, though.
I mean, she's a great dancer.
Yes, she is. She can move. Yes, if you're talking about movement abilities.
Yeah.
Certainly.
I don't know why volleyball came to me, but let's just say she's joined like a volleyball league here in Los Angeles, right? And whatever, it's with her friends, her teacher group, whatever. At any point, would you say, hey, would you mind filming people that you're playing with? Because I'm concerned that there's men there.
Okay. First of all, I would never do that, obviously. Second of all, you're putting your partner in a really awkward position there, because in this case, she needs to tell Josh no. And secondly, that is such a bizarre request. Like, can I have like a dossier on the people you play badminton with at the rec center? Like, what is that? And that's coming up. That immediately for me brought up, oh, right, this guy's been divorced twice, and maybe we're seeing why a little bit.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about his
outfit?
No, his unique proclivities that we think he might have. We'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so That's item number one. It's fucking weird to film people in a recreational setting. It's gross.
Excuse me, my American fiance would like to see what you look like. I don't think that's going over too well there, or...
And then Josh does a lot of this, then that, right? And we're all guilty of this.
Absolutely.
If she doesn't film the people that she's playing badminton with, then she loves me, but she's not in love with me.
Oh, this, yes.
Which is such a fucking cruel thing to say. And I guarantee y'all, that is the tip of the iceberg. Like, that is the nicest thing of the mean things that he's
like
ever
the
said.
Soft thing that he said.
That's the softest thing that he's ever said. I promise you, he's called her a whore. He's accused her of sleeping around. He's made much, much darker, more sinister allegations.
That was going to be my next question to you, because for the first time, it felt like Lily might be protecting Josh a little bit, like in terms of like protecting his reputation, let's say, because she was pretty soft.
Yeah, she was.
And you could tell, I mean, I was reading between the lines. I know you were too. And yeah, it sounds like Josh knows how to not curse when there's a TV camera around. And I think there's a lot of nasty stuff going on there.
He's bringing a lot of Glenn Close and Fatal Attraction energy to this. I will not be ignored. I will not be ignored, Dan. That's what's happening. I mean, look, this woman owns a business.
Yep.
And I could be wrong, but I imagine, like most of us, she'll get a message where he'll be like, hey, how was your day? Please explain it to me in excruciating detail. Can we talk about something really fucking serious right now? And she'll think, well, I'm just with a client who's like, eyeball I'm lasering. Let me just put this down and not respond to it immediately, but wait for an appropriate time.
Oh, are you speaking about how he mentioned that a lot of times when she gets his texts, sounds like they have read receipts on and he can see that she's read a message, but then he's like, and then it takes you hours to respond, which when we were watching it, I said to you, right, work, massive time difference.
Right.
Like, and also, and you brought up the point, you know, English is her second language, and probably for writing when you first wake up, she's probably copying his text and putting it into Google Translate. She might have not had time to do that. And to be put on some like weird clock, it's not helpful and it's not comforting.
No. And you know what else it's not? Gonna go away just because they're in the same country living in the same house.
Oh, it seems like it's going to get worse.
He's going to do this all day long and all night strong. Now, I want to throw something out here, and this is an entirely unfounded allegation. It's not even an allegation. I just get a feeling, and Jackie, you got a feeling too. And when you expressed your feeling, my feeling was I doubled down on it, basically.
Yes.
What do you think his top porn category is?
So I don't recall exactly what I said to you when we were discussing this.
Oh, you said he likes upskirt.
Oh, yes. Thank you. That was exactly it. Yes. I don't think, and this is not a comment on Josh's sexuality or how, if he likes physical sex. I was just saying that the way he was staring at Lily and wanted pictures of people everywhere, he seems like a guy who's like, oh, did you check out like German Scat Cat 75? And you're like, no. And it's like, because they post the best upskirts of women that don't know they're being filmed. That's his vibe. I know that's gross, everybody.
I also think he's a subway creeper.
Are you talking about what you demonstrated?
What
on
I
Diana?
Demonstrated on Diana, which she absolutely loved, and I'm not trivializing that at all. It's a terrible experience. It's happened to me many times.
We need to make light of these things on this show.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not. By that, this is a very specific thing. So he does not expose himself on public transportation. He gets uncomfortably close to women who are also on public transport and sort of rubs himself against them in order to achieve an erection.
This is a problem. Obviously, this is well documented in China. This is something that happens. It also happens here in the U.S., and it's also happened to me on the New York subway growing up. When it happens, though, and I am not condoning this, this is not a suggestion for me. What I find helpful is like, you might just turn and swing your elbow, and maybe your elbow is like really lined up with someone who's,
When you say growing up, do you mean you were a kid?
Yeah, but not like, I don't mean like 8. I mean like 14.
Well,
Let's
that
say.
doesn't make it better.
No, it doesn't make it better. But us Manhattanites at 14 years old are going everywhere by ourselves.
That's horrible, and I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But you know what? It is a point of, look, you swing a bag in an appropriate or an inappropriate direction, and you can back someone off. However, I have a feeling that when Josh is doing this, there is no room for anyone to go anywhere. And I think and I don't know, because you were creeped out by him in the first place, and now it seems like maybe your picker's better than mine because,
I think I just have a radar that I sadly had to develop because I wasn't born with it. And I'm not always right on the money, but I'm right often enough that I trust my gut.
I wouldn't tell you to stop trusting your gut.
And ladies, never stop trusting your gut. Never stop trusting your intuition.
Absolutely.
Gays and theys too are not comfortable. It doesn't matter what the reason is. It doesn't matter if you can't think of an excuse. Just go. Get out of that situation.
Absolutely. And now, just to bring it back to them here, how do you think, because we didn't really see much of her reaction, how do you think Lily was taking all of this, at least from what we could see?
I think that she really wants this relationship, this marriage to work out. I think that she is used to minimizing her own pain and downplaying her own feelings and experiences. I don't think there's a lot of room for her to have feelings in that marriage. And I imagine the two women preceded her also felt the same way. This is a man who is extremely emotionally immature, but who has big, big feelings.
Yes. And now, for the first time after this episode, wondering what happens when those big feelings come out. How long, and just curious before we wrap on them, how long do you surmise he's been there since that initial arrival in China? Is this like a week or like a month, do you think?
I couldn't tell.
It didn't feel like the first week anymore, so...
No, timelines are very fudgy, but it's also difficult, really don't like Hawaiian shirts.
Oh, that's what I wanted to get to. We did not mention the attire, the sportswear attire, which this is where I think you were just like, I'm done. I'm done with this guy.
My husband is permitted to wear what he likes, and sometimes he'll wear floral print, which I have no problem with, or, something with kind of a geometric design, something like that.
Button downs you're talking
Yes.
about. Yeah.
He will never be permitted to wear either a bowling shirt unless he decides to join a bowling league.
Bowling shirts made very popular by Charlie Sheen on 2.5 Men.
Yep, that's why. Nor will he ever be able to wear a Hawaiian shirt unless we're in freezing conditions and it would hurt him more to not have those clothes on.
I have some floral print shirts that are not Hawaiian shirts. What makes a Hawaiian shirt a Hawaiian shirt? Cut? Are they baggier? Are they boxier?
I think they're generally pretty roomy.
Okay.
But makes them stand out is the vibrancy of the color.
Right.
It's the Jimmy Buffett. And look, I understand in our listenership, a lot of people are huge parrot heads. I'm not coming for you. I'm just saying
we ain't got no quarrels with Jimmy Buffett. Or the parrot heads.
Sure. I'm not going to yuck on anybody's yum. Yeah, I don't, that aesthetic is not for me. And I have sometimes pretty borderline violent reactions to it.
I'm glad I had no Hawaiian shirts to hide before you came to LA.
No, but that's because your wife has good taste and she would never let you wear one.
They are alluring sometimes. They look really comfortable.
No, don't ever do that.
When I retire in Florida, maybe.
Nope. Well, then you're not going to be my problem. When you're retired, you're not going to be my problem.
Oh, I'll be podcasting until I can't talk anymore, which will be a very long time from now.
I know. Well, so Lord willing and the creek don't rise, we'll be doing it on our rocking chairs together. We'll be like, I don't understand this format, Jack. Can you explain to me? I don't understand what's been downloaded into my brain in the last
Michelle,
10 minutes.
I've been trying to understand myself, but all these new chirons and people, I just don't understand it no more.
At what point in your life do you become
Southern?
Yeah.
Well, see, my dad, who is 89 and healthy, love you, Pops, lives in Florida, and and he lives in a Western Florida, more towards the Gulf than the Atlantic. He's also lived in Chattanooga, and despite being an old Jewish man from North Jersey, he kind of takes on the accents of wherever he's living.
Oh, interesting.
Not in like a complete phony way, but in a, I'm going to interact like I'm one of the dudes. That's like what he's always been like.
That's really funny. My dad, who was born in Long Island raised in Long Island,
where my mother was born and
went to college in Providence, Rhode Island. So basically spent his entire young adult life in New York and then New England. No discernible accent his entire life. Yeah, no,
it's remarkable. My mother, also born and raised in Long Island, does not have an accent. And I know for her, she never wanted an accent and knew as a little girl, I don't want that accent.
Yeah, my dad was the same.
So these are people. So if you actively hear an accent growing up that you don't like, there is a chance that you can avoid that accent if you handle things properly.
Yes. And even if you live in a country for 15 years with a highly desirable accent, like the British accent, and you're surrounded by it all the time, sometimes people immerse themselves and they end up doing a flawless British accent. Mine is awful, as many of you have heard. And I have to say, honestly, I stopped being able to hear it after a while. Like, I just hear words now. I don't really hear things in an accent. In fact, it's I think 90% of the first 2 weeks of me being in Los Angeles was like, is this the Twilight Zone?
Everyone's American. What's happening?
Everyone's American. It's so weird. That and like, wait, $10 for an Amy's frozen pizza has happened.
Well, you famously forgot how tax worked. Sales tax.
I have.
Worked
Yes.
in the US.
Yep. I forgot. I forgot about sales tax.
I forgot that they include the tax in your prices in Britain.
Yeah.
So you had a little sticker shock at the. You were like, this thing that's $6 is actually like $8.50. Okay.
I think that is so wrong. Anyway,
Yes.
On to Statler and Dempsey. I'm going to make an appeal to you all. I know people are Statler's posting stuff in her stories, calling out other podcasters and things like that. As a member of the neurospicy community, I would ask for some grace and patience there. And please don't post anything negative about her in our group. That's just me asking. You are, of course, free to do whatever you like, but she is a friend of the show. I say this every single time. I will protect people who I feel it's necessary to protect. I mean, she can fend for herself, obviously. She's an adult, but part of what I'm trying to do on this show, and this is just a ready opportunity for me to do, is to try and help our listeners who are open-minded, and many of whom are either neurodivergent or have neurodivergent family members, just to be a kind of voice or somebody who can be an explainer. what it's like to travel as an autistic ADHD person with anxiety. Actually, this can be a dialogue rather than a monologue.
Let's
because, all right, so I had not been on a plane at all in 10 years when I flew over to Los Angeles. Jake and Maddie had invited Jack and I to be at their live show, and I really wanted to be there, and I'm so glad that I was, and so grateful. And I also really wanted to move past this barrier in my life because I've missed a lot because of my fears and phobias around flying.
You prepared me perfectly for like what you were dealing with and what the travel was going to be like for you, to the point where I knew you weren't going to have a lot of energy. I knew you were going to maybe be overwhelmed or something. Also meeting me for the first time, that's like new. So, it was really important for me, and you helped me in advance. Like, I went in knowing how you were going to be, and you were fine. You were great. And you were much more comfortable than you had made it out like you might be. But maybe sharing that discomfort, maybe that helped you be more comfortable with me.
I think that's an extremely generous take. I think I was a nightmare.
Well, it's hard, I'm looking back. It's hard to look back and remember the exact feelings. But tell me, and I'll second it if I agree. When you say you were a nightmare, explain.
Well, I appreciate you saying that I prepared you and y'all, needless to say, Robin was also very supportive as well, but
Absolutely.
He wasn't going to be able to travel with me. So that's why I'm singling out Jack, and also
Yes.
Jack's here to talk about it. Sorry, I shook the table again. I'm really trying hard not to. And then we get to the point where, I get up in the morning, I take my medicine. I'm at the airport already. Thanks, Mom, putting me up at a hotel that's actually in the airport.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the least amount of stress possible. And I'm waiting at that gate, and I have
I didn't know if you wanted to go here, but let's go there.
I have already been on the phone to my husband. He's done everything he can for me. And now I am shaking, sobbing, crying my eyes out, telling Jack I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it.
Yes, all of that happened. And, and this does relate because I would like to think that I acted in opposite of how Dempsey acts when greeting Statler after a long trip, which we'll get to in a second. But yes, I spoke to you on the phone while you were in some despair. Mm-hmm. And really upset because you wanted to come here. You wanted to grow this show with me. You wanted to make it to the Reality Gaze show that we were invited to do with them. There was a point where because I understand that I got very quickly that having alternatives, even if they're not real alternatives, are important for you. Like, just, are there other options? So we learned that quickly. And, I did make you get on the plane. I don't quite know how I achieved this, but I did stay on the phone with you. I made sure that it's what you wanted to do and that you were just feeling scared, but you did want to get on the plane. And then I kind of did a little thing where I just said, you got to get on the plane. Like, you're going to get on the plane. It's going to be fine. You're going to relax. Because I felt that you seemed, any other nerves aside, by the time you got off the plane, at the airport here at LAX, seems like your nervous level had dropped. Did you feel like you had accomplished something?
I was heavily medicated, Jack.
This is true. This is true.
Like, I had...
you could stand, though.
I could stand. I could stand. I was very heavily medicated, and I was so relieved just to be back in the motherland and to see all these, and also coming from really unimaginably, unseasonably cold, wet, shitty weather to Los Angeles, California. Amazing. Look, what I'm trying to say, I'll just give a brief overview.
Yeah.
So what keeps a gal like me or Statler running is our ability to regulate our nervous systems. Our nervous systems are, and especially when you combine that with trauma and anxiety and post-traumatic stress and whatever else, it just compounds what your system is going to do naturally. So, and again, this doesn't apply to every neurodivergent person, but basically I spend most of my day trying to regulate my nervous system. So I have a timer that goes off that tells me when I need to eat lunch. It's not because I don't get hungry. It's because I don't feel hungry until I'm starving. And by then it's too late to get food,
Right.
often without there being some kind of incident. So your noises, stimuli are exhausting and will drain you. And when Statler says to Dempsey, I am done for the day. I am done. Talking about the battery is a way, you know, how much energy we've expended. That's what I do with my husband. I say I'm like on 12% battery. I do that with you too.
Yep.
And I say, I think I've got about half an hour left, and then nothing.
And for
I
the
need to
people
rest.
that care about you, we can take that and be like, okay, that's what.
And it matters. And here is the whole of what I want to say about this segment, really, again, because I know Statler listens, and I don't want to explain too much about someone else's personal experience, because I don't think that's fair. But Dempsey, in the time that you spent, quote unquote, doing everything for the van trip,
joke.
Did it ever occur to you in the 2 months that you spent apart that you could have read a fucking book about autism, about ADHD?
How about in the 2 years since they've been together? Could she have picked up a book at any point?
Right? Like, my husband, as soon as I was diagnosed, and even in the run up to diagnosis, like, he doesn't know, he doesn't have any spare time. He went to every appointment with me. He went to every debrief with the doctor. He read every single fucking pamphlet, book, anything that I threw at him. He read it. He got it. He asked me questions about it. When you love someone, when you care about someone, not all of you have to listen to, 20 minutes of me talking about getting on a plane. This is what you do when you love someone. You don't treat, regardless of how you feel about autism or mental illness or anxiety, anything. If you love someone, you accept that that is part of their reality, and your beliefs, whatever they may be, are irrelevant to how you proceed with that relationship, because your job is to care about that other person.
100%. And you just jogged my mind a little bit here with a semi-related thing. So I'm not ASD, but I used to suffer from panic disorder. It's still a part of me. I just have good strategies to.
And Diana and I both think you have undiagnosed ADHD.
Oh, probably. I would imagine that that's likely incident there. Yeah, I just don't understand, because I was going to say that, look, even when we started working together and you're open about your struggles and what you deal with, I did some reading myself so I could understand, so I could, not take things the wrong way, like understand that sometimes you might say something that might sound one way, but it's not how you mean it. Like in terms of cadence.
And equally, like I don't always understand or receive things the way that people mean them, because I detect someone's emotion
right
based on how they're speaking.
Right. And that's something that I've been learning. Diana's been learning too. And it's really not trouble, because if you care about someone, you want to be able to communicate, want them to be comfortable. What I really, and we're not going to dive too far into Statler and Dempsey, but I just want to say, like, that was a shitty garbage fucking attitude from Dempsey when Statler is, like, literally you can see she's got nothing left at that time getting off the plane. She's just happy that the ordeal is over. She clearly just needs to process and catch up with herself a little bit. And instead, There's no like, oh, sweetheart, great to see you. Like, I'm sure you need to chill. Like, it's okay. It was just badgering. And why aren't you happy? And why aren't you this? And why aren't you that? And it was like, Dempsey, do you know your girlfriend or not?
She knows, she just doesn't care. She did my favorite thing, which is, even if I was tired, your being tired is very different to Statler being tired. So we'll leave that there. Thank you all for
I just want
your
to say
patience if you
one
made
other
it.
thing, Statler, because I know you're probably listening. You looked absolutely gorgeous in the ITM.
Love the new testimonial look.
Yes.
I feel like they finally got it.
You look great and your eyes look beautiful. So from us to you, we're gonna wrap up your story this week, but we love you, Statler.
Yes, we do. Solidarity all the way. Let's talk about James and Tata. I'm aware of time, so we're not going to go too deep into these last two, but we're gonna pull out.
I might institute not today, but going forward, I might introduce some rapid fires for some of these that get to the wire at the end.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. First thing I've got in the sort of outstanding moments, I don't think anything, obviously nothing sinister is meant by this, but I would be so uncomfortable if I were a man and not in a homophobic way, just in my physical space kind of way.
Yes.
If a man put his hand that high up my thigh, that James's father-in-law did.
When he has his hand on his knee and then it's kind of going inner thigh almost.
Yeah.
Is that a power play?
No, I don't think there's anything behind it apart from like,
I think it was like, hey, we don't speak the same language. I want to let you know, hey, welcome. I like you.
Yeah.
But still a little. And look, we do learn this, and I learned this with my extensive travels through Latin America. Every region of the world has a different idea of personal space. That's my experience.
Yes. Yeah, I
shout
second that.
Shout out to the woman on my flight once from New York to Santo Domingo who clipped her toenails onto me. Shout out.
That's vile.
True story.
James's new best friend is Chit Chat, the lizard, not to be confused with the gecko in the Philippines
with Brandon and Mary.
I've got a lot of thoughts about the bidet scenario. Did he think
that's not a bidet? It's a hose. Like, is that considered? No. And I'm asking, in the rest of, is that considered a bidet? Okay,
yes, it is.
Two different types of bidets. You have the kind that's in the toilet, and then you have the separate hose attachment.
Yeah, it's not in the toilet; it's a separate vessel toilet.
Yes. I meant. Here we also have the ones that are cheap American things that you can buy and put on.
Yeah, that's basically what they are. How this got up his asshole and to his prostate?
His magic button, as he called it. I don't know what else he was talking about if it's not his prostate.
Has anyone ever touched your magic button that wasn't a doctor?
I'm not against it. It just has never happened. From what I hear, guys really like it. I just, hasn't been something I've tried. But I do question, I asked you this because he basically was like, yeah, I don't know, this fucking thing doesn't work. It cleaned my asshole. James, I'm pretty sure that's the purpose of it. You still might need tissue for the outside, friend.
I think they're better for the environment. I think they're a better option for so many reasons, and I support them.
Yes.
If you've never used one, please don't insert it into your butthole and spray. That is not what that's for.
There's also different settings and stuff. This is, to me, you know what? This is like the consummate fish out of water moment where it's like, this guy can't even figure out like how the bathroom works. That's basically what we're up to.
Sure. And not surprisingly at all, he wants to kick the serious conversations down the road, ideally until they've had 6 children and the parents are on their deathbed.
He doesn't even necessarily want children. So
I'm sorry. The 6 children may not happen, but he wants to wait until
make sure
the parents are about to die before telling them that
it's not going to happen.
That they're moving there.
Yeah, but it's going to be like, yeah, no, they're coming. We're going to make children for you, grandchildren. And then like, he'll be like, hey, I want to talk to you. Like, just, I know.
I get about the promises and stuff, but how can these two people, Tata's parents, look at her temperament and mood and reactions to things and think this, and it's their youngest child, so it's their baby, right?
Yes.
How can they look at this child and think, you know what she's ready for? Screaming bag of need.
Well, do you think that if they have children and they end up staying in Indonesia, do you think that, because I couldn't tell, and this is just from the one scene we had with Tata's mom, like, would she be very helpful with a child? Do you think, was that like a vibe you got?
No, she's
Right.
like,
I don't want to call out things without asking you, but she didn't seem, I don't know, guilt tripping your daughter for going to America, or guilt tripping. I don't know. I'm starting to see why Tata might break down in tears the way she does. Like, it's a lot of pressure, it seems, on the youngest child in Indonesia.
there is, but I think her parents need to understand that in this day and age, in any country, basically, that I can think of, you basically, like, I know they're younger than us,
Yes.
but even for our generation, it's like, I take care of you or I take care of a kid. I can't have both because I didn't walk into job security for life and a pension and available affordable real estate. And
Right.
I walked into double recessions and subprime mortgages, jobs with no healthcare plans that pay me by the hour, and 0-hour contracts and things like that.
I've
So,
also had the really fun of, like, insurance included, and then you reach out to HR every week for months, and they're like, yeah, it should be, but I'm gonna have to get back to you on that.
awful. And then you run out of Xanax, and then the world gets real.
Oh, this is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
Then shit gets real.
So I did just want to also just quickly mention, because it was a little unclear what their financial situation is. We know that James is likely not going to get paid, or not get paid very much if he gets paid by the family with the banana chips. But we find out that some, like, lemon of a car that they have cost $8,000 and wiped out their savings, essentially.
What car costs $8,000 to repair?
It literally, for that kind of price, that's like a new engine. So, like, I'm not sure at that point, don't you, like, you junk the car and, like,
That's what I
take
thought.
the small loss instead of a money pit car while you're trying to move to Indonesia? Stupid.
Christ on a bike. There, but for the grace of God go I.
I am curious to see. And last thing on them, the house where her parents live is sort of remarkable. We have giant pillars outside. He calls it the White House. But what we see is, speaking of ADHD, I wonder if Tata's father may have some ADHD, because outside of the house looks pretty good. But as James put it, this room has had nothing done to it and looks like a prison.
Yeah, I don't know if but he's right.
Hey, look, I will just say that if you cut that scene differently and James was in the room alone and you said, you want to check out this old episode of Locked Up Abroad? I'd be like, oh yeah, this looks like a good one.
Boy, I can't. That's in my worst fear drawer. That's in my nightmare locker.
Did you ever watch one of Diana's favorite movies on this topic, Broke Down Palace?
I'm sure I've seen it, but I don't. Anyway, we need to do this. I'm shaking the table again.
Let's move on. So I think that wraps James and Tata, and we're running a little late. So let's quickly run through Sarper and Shekinah.
Jack, I'm going to need you. You've got a beautiful velvety voice, as many of our listeners have been keen to point out.
Oh, thank you.
And celebrate, understandably. I would like you to do, for our role play segment today, I would like you to do VO spot as Sarper, advertising affordable furniture house where you can pick out something you want. And yes, that is the name of the store.
Shekinah, look, you can get all kinds of couch. And even though there is no empire anymore, plenty of Ottomans.
When he said that while we were watching this, I have to say, and I like screamed. So I'm glad we've rehearsed that one.
This is, let's see, I'm gonna read your notes. Okay, do you mind if I read that next note?
No, go ahead.
I'm gonna read this verbatim because this is just, look, we sort of like, I don't know, I have like a love-hate with Sarper and Shekinah.
I do too. I'm warming to them now.
Well, because I'm just picturing, like, I don't want to talk. Everything I say about them is like, I'm taking their story with a grain of salt. If they ever heard this, and if my suspicions are correct, and they are somewhere within a 10-mile radius of where I'm sitting right now, I want to have a drink with you two, because I think it would be really fun.
Me too.
We'll make you look good. But what was interesting is he was saying that they got into a whole thing with Shekinah asking, because she met the ex-girlfriend last week, and then really over the top with, have you ever told anyone you love them? You told me you didn't, blah, blah, blah. And then he says he's understanding. What you wrote is, he's understanding that he used to not care what any of dem bitches and hoes said about him after he was done with them, but now this could affect his relationship with Shekinah.
Yes, and my autocorrect changes Shekinah to Sheena. So thank you for reading that properly. Now, there were so many morsels, but just to pick a few of the best ones. Shekinah actually, that his laugh was totally fake and forced.
Yes.
And she was disturbed by it. And I'm like, oh, she's finally understanding that he's made of circuitry and rubber.
As I put it, I thought he looked like Ian Holm in Alien, the original one, when he's an android and when he gets cut, like milky liquid comes out instead of blood. Yes, I am full of milky liquid.
Ew. You do Sarper, you always do this thing with your hands. And it's always 20 times grosser. I loved, yes, but it's true, Shekinah. People have experiences in life that change their behavior and influence their thinking. And people can change. You know what else can happen? They can revert back to old habits.
Yes.
This is not, you can't like buy relationship insurance. I really wish everyone wishes that, you know, any serious relationship, be it marriage, whatever your preferred style is,
yes,
could come with some kind of insurance policy where, hey, if it ends, you're not going to feel anything, right? We're going to put you in the eternal sunshine of the spotless mind machine.
Golden parachute.
You'll forget all of this and you'll be absolutely fine. You'll be restored to financial wholeness. At some point, you have to let go of this idea that you have any control over what another human being does or doesn't do, or how they behave, or how things evolve and change. You want to grow and change, and ideally you grow together rather than growing apart, but sometimes you grow apart. And it's not, I've said it a million times, I'll say it again, divorce is not a failure. The end of a relationship is not a failure. It was a success for however long you were together. It's an achievement to have been together for that long. It's wonderful to have made that commitment to someone and have them make that commitment to you.
For sure.
It's a beautiful thing to transform into a lovey-dovey, fluffy, fluffy bun.
To a lovey-dovey, fluffy, fluffy bun, you know? That was a direct quote from Sarper.
I couldn't love that more. He might be the most unintentionally funny person who has ever been on this show.
I'm looking at a picture we took of him. Listeners, please, in the Facebook group, if you can, or write to me directly. Was his hair blacker in this episode? Because the picture I have from his ITM, it's very gray, but I also don't know if that's just lights. I can't really tell. And I don't quite know what... I literally look, Sarper, I love you. I don't know what part of you is real and what is enhanced.
Do you want to know can he answer that question with animals? Because we have both. Shekinah, I was a lonely wolf before I met you. I was walking on snow and leaving no traces or footprints behind. Well, You left a lot of dirty fucking snow behind. You pissed in it. You shat in it. You left a trail of broken hearts. The fact that like there's 20 women contacting your girlfriend after having seen you on TV means you absolutely didn't operate in the shadows. So that's wrong. And then we have, right before I met you, I was a cock. And when I met you, I transformed into a peacock. And with my feathers, I'm trying to impress you. That's more like I'm talking like Nandor from What We Do in the Shadows now. But that basically is. So,
but what was interesting right off of that, so he's making these, she laughs. It totally broke the tension.
And it's real
laughter. It was completely real, genuine smile, which Diana had a comment, she's going to want to do more Botox after she sees that she can actually smile. But, they seemed like they were having a happy moment. And I think this is another, like, kind of like Much Ado About Nothing. I don't think he's cheating on her. I think part of the reason he settled down, and it happens to guys like him who run around, when you hit your mid-40s, you get tired. You don't want to run around like that anymore.
Well, you got tired in your early 20s.
Hey, I ain't never been tired. But it does happen. I have not been a runaround either. But
that's true.
Sarper being a runaround, it's just, like you said, I think he's changed and his feelings for Shekinah have made it like, yes, I am a different person. And she's like angry at him for being different.
I know. It's almost like she's trying to foist this drama that need not be happening onto this like perfectly workoutable relationship.
Yes.
But that is the secret in the secret sauce. My name is Michelle, and I was a lonely wolf before I met you, listeners.
And my name's Jack, and I like to wash the inside of my asshole when I use a bidet.
I wish you hadn't looked me directly in the eyes when you said that. Yes, we are covering Love is Blind UK. So
just a little note for everybody. So how are we going to release those episodes?
So we're doing batch episodes, meaning that they'll drop the first 3 or 4, whatever it is. So we will do one recap for all of those episodes and then another recap for the next drop, et cetera, et cetera. We absolutely do not have the bandwidth to do individual episodes. Once we get to the point where we're not doing all the work ourselves, then hopefully we can get there. We know you can help us. /Blighty Day. Follow us on socials at Blighty Day, Blighty Day Fiance at gmail.com. DMs are open. I'm Michelle Snark. Michelle is with Chills on Facebook. Jack is just Jack. You can find him in the Facebook group.
I will get a last name on there. Facebook is being very finicky with their 60-day rule of me playing with my alternate profile too many times.
His last name is hyphenated. It's Pizza Bagel.
And hey, little last shout out. Thank you for the activity in the Facebook group and
don't forget to join our contest. Post your most awkward, cringeworthy, or sickeningly sweet family or group photo to
Diana
the thread.
And I do not want to win by default, so we're going to need some other.
We need, we've got some good ones so far, but we need more, and we need your help. Okay, we love you.